So I want to take a look at the current NFC playoff standings where the Packers currently are. It's very similar to last week, but I'll show it here. Lions still the 1 seed, 11-1. Eagles 2 seed, 10-2. Seahawks 3 seed, 7-5. Falcons 4th seed, 6-6. Vikings 5th seed, 10-2. Packers still the 6th seed at 9-3. And the Commanders finish it off as the 7th seed at 8-5. And so the NFC North teams at the top continue to win. The Packers have not gained any ground on the Vikings or the Lions. 2 games behind the Lions, 1 game behind the Vikings. That could change this week with the Packers playing the Lions on Thursday Night Football. Should be a very good game. The Lions won the first one. I think the Packers will have a better shot here with a fully healthy and ready Jordan Love. But when we look at the next 5 weeks, a lot could change in the NFC North, which could impact the Packers and their playoff seeding. The Packers are still 2 games behind the Lions, 1 game behind the Vikings. If the Packers do beat the Lions, they'll only be 1 game behind the Lions and the Vikings if the Vikings were to also win. And so if the Packers beat the Lions, the chance of the Packers winning the NFC North goes up a lot. The only problem is when it comes to all these tiebreakers, right now the Packers aren't in the best spot. When you look at the different tiebreakers after a record, if you're still tied there, of course, let's say the Packers finish as 14-3, the Lions finish as 14-3, and even the Vikings were to finish at 14-3. It comes first down to head-to-head versus each other. If the Packers were to beat the Lions and the Lions also beat the Packers, that would mean they're 1-1, so you have to go to the next one. Then it's win percentage in division games. Currently, Packers aren't too great in the NFC North, 1-2. The Vikings are 2-1. The Lions are 3-0. So even if the Packers beat the Lions, at least after this week, would still have the tiebreaker when it comes to divisional games. They'd be 3-1, even losing to the Packers. The Packers would be 2-2. So they need to make up some more ground there. And so there's a lot of possible factors here. The only way the Packers for sure win the NFC North, if you take away all these tiebreakers, they'd need to beat the Lions on Thursday and then have the Lions lose 2 games, and the Packers would need to win the rest of their games. That would put them 1 game ahead of the Lions. Now, of course, with the Vikings, it would be different. So I assume if the Vikings, if we need to finish 1 game ahead of the Vikings, we'll need to have the Vikings lose 2 more games and the Packers lose in the final games. So that's sort of the where it is right now. Is very similar to where it's been the past few weeks. But as I said, if the Packers beat the Lions this week, the Packers have a chance there. If the Lions can maybe lose to a team like the Bills, potentially the 49ers, things like that, that could get very interesting in the final few weeks of the season. But the NFC North has been pretty much the best division in all of football so far this season. It hasn't really stopped so far. And when we look at all these teams, when it comes to playoff probability, this is from NFL.com, their website. Lions 99%, Eagles 99%, Seahawks 47%, Falcons 57%, Vikings 99%, Packers 97%. So the very good thing right now is with the Packers being the 6th seed, being one of those wild card teams at the moment at 9-3. If you look at the teams outside of the top 7, the Buccaneers are 6-6, and so are the Cardinals and Rams. So that means currently the Packers are 3 games ahead of those teams who are barely missing, being in the wild card as one of the wild card teams. And so the Packers look like they're pretty much a lock for the playoffs unless they maybe lose out. I mean, they still may have a chance to make the playoffs at that point. Probably not. But it looks like the Packers are in a very good spot to make the playoffs. And as I've said, I've seen other people, Packers fans, say, I don't think it's the end of the world to be a 5 seed, 6 seed. I think this is a team that plays well on the road, and come playoff time, it could be, I think, a fine situation for the Packers. But if you want to see my Packers Lions prediction video, I'm probably putting it out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.